You're driving alone on a rain-soaked highway. The tires hum beneath you, and every mile stretches longer than memory allows. Headlights flicker in the distance, but no one ever speaks. Something is with you, watching, waiting, moving in time with the storm. Tonight, we follow the road that never lets go. The road begins to widen in a way that feels almost thoughtful, as if it is making space for something you have not yet noticed. The rain thins into a fine mist, softening the world into muted shades of silver and shadow. Your headlights sweep across an opening on the right, revealing the faint outline of a rest stop emerging from the dark. It appears slowly, not suddenly, like a recollection surfacing from deep water. You ease your foot from the accelerator without fully deciding to. The convoy ahead continues onward, their lights drifting farther into the mist, untroubled by your slowing pace. The truck beside you remains steady for a moment longer, then gently pulls ahead, its dark shape dissolving back into rain and distance. You do not feel abandoned. The road simply feels quieter now, more focused. The rest stop sits low and wide, its structure barely distinguishable from the night around it. A row of tall lamps lines the edge of the lot, their light flickering inconsistently, never fully bright, never fully dark. Rain pools beneath them, reflecting fractured halos that tremble with each falling drop. The effect feels dreamlike, as though the ground itself is unsure whether it wants to hold light or let it go. You guide your truck off the road and into the lot, tires hissing softly over wet pavement. The space feels vast and empty, stretching wider than seems necessary. No other vehicles are parked here. No engines idle. No doors open or close. The absence of sound feels deliberate, carefully maintained. As you bring the truck to a gentle stop, the engine's hum fades into silence. The quiet settles around you, thick but not heavy. Rain continues to fall, tapping softly against metal and glass, the only sound left to fill the space. You sit for a moment, hands resting on the wheel, breathing slow, letting your senses adjust. The lamps flicker again, one by one, as if responding to your presence. Their light pulses briefly, then steadies into a dim glow. You notice how the rain beneath them seems darker, deeper, like small pools holding more than just water. Reflections ripple across their surfaces, stretching and bending in ways that feel almost intentional. You open the door and step down, boots meeting wet pavement with a soft splash. The air feels cooler here, tinged with the clean scent of rain and something older, earthier. You close the door quietly behind you, the sound echoing faintly before dissolving into the night. The rest stop feels larger now that you are standing within it, its emptiness expanding gently outward. You walk slowly, unhurried, drawn toward the center of the lot. The lamps overhead flicker again, their light stuttering as if unsure how long it should remain. You feel no fear, only a calm awareness, like stepping into a room where someone has just been, though you cannot see them. The sensation is subtle, comforting in its familiarity. There is a building at the far end of the lot, low and rectangular, its windows dark. No light spills from inside. The doors are closed, their surfaces slick with rain. You do not feel compelled to enter. The structure feels complete as it is, sealed and quiet, content to remain unopened. Rain gathers at the edges of the pavement, forming shallow streams that wind their way toward unseen drains. You watch the water move, tracing slow paths that intersect and separate, never rushing. The pattern feels soothing, like watching breath rise and fall. The night seems to move at this same pace, unhurried, attentive. You become aware of a presence that is not visual, not auditory, but physical in a quiet way. It feels like the sense of someone nearby, standing just out of view, breathing softly. The awareness does not tighten your muscles or quicken your pulse. It simply exists, sharing the space with you. The lamps flicker once more, and for a brief moment you think you see movement at the edge of the lot. Not a figure, not a shape, just a subtle shift in shadow, like the night adjusting its posture. You blink, and the space returns to stillness. The rain continues, unconcerned. You walk a little farther, feeling the pavement beneath your boots, solid and grounding. Each step feels deliberate, supported. The rest stop does not resist your presence. It accepts it, as though this meeting has been anticipated for a long time. The thought settles comfortably in your mind. You pause beneath one of the lamps, looking down into the pool of rainwater at your feet. Your reflection appears briefly, distorted by ripples, then breaks apart as another drop falls. The image feels less like a mirror and more like a suggestion, a reminder that not everything here needs to be clearly seen. The air feels thicker now, not heavy, but intimate, as though the space has drawn a little closer. You sense that whatever is waiting here does not intend to reveal itself fully. It breathes quietly, patiently, content to be felt rather than observed. The realization brings a sense of calm rather than unease. You listen. Beneath the rain, beneath the faint hum of distant highway noise, there is a deeper quiet, steady and slow. It feels like the rest stop's heartbeat, marking time in a way that does not rely on clocks or distance. You find your own breathing aligning with it, naturally, without effort. The lamps begin to dim further, their flickering growing softer, less frequent. Shadows deepen around the edges of the lot, but the darkness does not feel threatening. It feels protective, like a blanket drawn gently higher. You feel safe within this dimness, held by its consistency. You realize that you are not meant to stay here long, but neither are you meant to leave in a hurry. The rest stop feels like a pause rather than a destination, a place designed for moments like this one. The thought brings a quiet gratitude, though you are not sure to whom it is directed. Rain continues to fall, each drop distinct, each one finding its place. The presence nearby remains, steady and calm. You do not attempt to locate it. You understand instinctively that it does not need to be named or seen. Its purpose is simply to be here, sharing the quiet. After a while, you turn back toward your truck. The lamps flicker softly as you move, their light following you just enough to guide your steps. You feel a gentle reassurance in the motion, a sense that the rest stop is watching you go without judgment or regret. You climb back into the cab, closing the door with care. The interior feels warmer now, more familiar. You start the engine, its low hum filling the space, blending seamlessly with the sound of rain. The lights outside dim further, some going dark entirely, others lingering in faint glow. As you pull back onto the road, the rest stop recedes into the mist, its shape dissolving until it is indistinguishable from the night. You do not feel as though you are leaving something behind. Instead, it feels as though something has gently settled within you, quiet and steady. And as the road welcomes you back, you sense that what waited in the dark is still traveling with you, ready to reveal itself when the night grows even quieter. The road carries you forward again, smooth and quiet, as if nothing has interrupted its steady intention. Rain returns to a gentle fall, light enough to soften the night without obscuring it. Your headlights trace the familiar ribbon of asphalt, and the sense of motion settles comfortably into your body. Yet something has shifted since the rest stop, something subtle that now travels with you, nestled just beneath awareness. Another pull-off appears ahead, smaller this time, marked only by a simple sign half hidden by rain. You slow without hesitation, guided by a calm certainty rather than curiosity. The space opens into a narrow lot beside a low building, older than the others, its outline softened by years of weather. A single lamp glows near the entrance, steady and warm, refusing to flicker. You park and step down once more, rain tapping softly against your shoulders. The air feels thicker here, not heavy, but attentive. The building's door stands slightly ajar, as though waiting. You push it open gently, and the sound echoes briefly before settling into quiet. Inside, the space is small and simple. A wooden counter runs along one wall, its surface worn smooth by time and touch. Behind it, shelves hold nothing but dust and shadow. The lamp inside casts a golden pool of light that feels unexpectedly welcoming. Rain patters against the roof, creating a steady rhythm that fills the room without overwhelming it. On the counter lies a book. It is thick, bound in dark leather, its edges softened and darkened by moisture. You approach slowly, drawn by a sense of familiarity you cannot explain. The book rests alone, centered, as though placed there deliberately. You feel no hesitation as you reach for it. The cover is warm beneath your fingers, warmer than the air around it. The sensation surprises you gently, like realizing someone has just held your hand. You lift the book, feeling its weight settle comfortably into your palms. Feels used, cared for, known. You open it carefully. The pages are thick, slightly warped from dampness, their surfaces textured and alive beneath your touch. Ink bleeds softly across them, the writing neat but fluid, as though it adjusts itself to the page's condition. Lines list arrivals and departures in steady columns, names written with quiet confidence. You scan the entries without urgency. Dates appear beside each name, some familiar, some not. Rain darkened smudges blur certain lines, making them difficult to read, as though the page itself is choosing what to reveal. The effect feels intentional rather than careless. Then you see it. Your name appears midway down the page, written clearly, unmistakably. It is spelled exactly as you spell it, each letter formed with careful familiarity. Beside it, a date is listed, followed by a time. The entry is complete, signed. You feel a soft warmth spread through your chest. Not fear, not surprise, but recognition. The signature looks like yours, but calmer, steadier, as though written by a version of you unburdened by doubt. The sight feels intimate, like finding your handwriting in a place you do not remember visiting. You turn the page slowly. More entries follow, names flowing down the paper like a quiet procession. Some dates appear to repeat. Others seem to bend, written in ways that do not align with any calendar you know. Rain has blurred several of them, ink feathering outward into soft shapes that resemble clouds or water stains. You notice that some entries extend beyond the present, their dates resting gently in the future. They do not feel speculative. They feel remembered. The realization settles in your mind without resistance, like a truth that has been waiting patiently. The book feels warmer now, responding subtly to your attention. You hold it closer, aware of the quiet energy resting within its pages. The room remains still, the lamp steady, the rain consistent. You feel supported by the space, encouraged to continue. You flip back to the page with your name, tracing the line gently with your finger. The ink does not smudge, feels set, complete. The date beside it feels close, not distant, as though it belongs to this moment rather than another time. You breathe slowly, letting the sensation settle. You glance toward the doorway, half expecting movement, but the room remains empty. The presence you felt earlier does not intrude. It observes quietly, respectfully. You sense that the book itself is the focus here, the reason you were guided to stop. As you turn another page, you notice faint impressions beneath the ink, as though other words once existed there, now absorbed into the paper. The pages feel layered, holding multiple moments at once. You feel time folding inward again, familiar and gentle. The rain outside grows slightly heavier, tapping more insistently against the roof. The sound blends with the soft rustle of pages as you turn them. Each entry feels like a breath, a pause, a moment acknowledged and recorded. The book does not rush you. You realize that the logbook does not distinguish between arrival and departure the way you expect. The columns blur together, suggesting that coming and going are part of the same motion. The thought feels comforting, like realizing that movement itself is the constant. Your name appears again several pages later, then again. Each entry feels calm, unremarkable, as though your presence here is neither unusual nor rare. You feel no fear at this repetition. Instead, you feel a gentle reassurance, a sense of belonging to a larger pattern. The warmth of the book seeps into your hands, steady and grounding. You sense that it is not predicting anything. It is remembering. The idea feels important, though you do not fully understand why. You accept it without question. You close the book slowly, resting your palm on its cover for a moment. The warmth lingers, pulsing faintly, like a quiet heartbeat. You place it back on the counter exactly where it was, aligning it carefully, respectfully. As you step back, you notice a faint indentation on the counter where the book rested, as though it has occupied that space for a very long time. The lamp's light seems to soften further, deepening the room's calm. The rain eases slightly, as if acknowledging completion. You turn toward the door, feeling no urgency to leave, but knowing that it is time. The presence in the room feels content, settled. You open the door and step back into the night, the cool air brushing your face gently. The road waits patiently, unchanged, familiar. You climb into your truck and start the engine, its hum steady and reassuring. As you pull away, you glance once more at the building. The lamp still glows, warm and constant, a quiet marker in the dark. The drive resumes, rain tapping softly, headlights stretching forward. You feel different now, though nothing tangible has changed. The knowledge of the logbook rests within you, quiet and steady, like a secret you are not meant to explain. You breathe deeply, settling back into the rhythm of the road. The night feels closer now, more personal. You sense that what you read has gently prepared you for what lies ahead, whatever form it may take. And as the road unfolds once more, you feel that the book has already written the moment when the night will finally recognize you again. The road stretches ahead, endless and wet, a silver ribbon reflecting your headlights in fractured patterns. The rain has returned to a gentle cadence, each drop pattering on metal and glass with its soft insistence. You feel the familiar hum of the engine beneath you, a steady pulse that matches the rhythm of your own heartbeat. Everything is calm, measured, as though the night itself has slowed to observe your journey. You notice it first as a subtle change, almost imperceptible. A single droplet splashes onto your shoulder through no open window, no defect in the seals of the cab. You glance around, half expecting to find a leak, a shadow of moisture forming somewhere above. But the interior is perfectly dry. The droplet slides down your arm slowly, heavier than the rain outside. You take a careful breath and feel the air thickening slightly, as if the cab itself is aware. Another droplet joins the first, falling from the ceiling above, a steady, deliberate rhythm. You pause, letting your senses adjust to this anomaly. The rain has moved inside the cab, yet it does not startle you. It feels precise, like a metronome designed to guide your attention. The sound is intimate, closer than the storm outside, and carries a subtle warmth, rather than the cold intrusion of a leak. You rest your hands lightly on the wheel, feeling its smooth surface, grounding yourself in the familiar. The droplets continue to fall, each one forming a tiny echo on the metal and glass, like a quiet conversation between water and surface. You sense the cab responding to you, the space contracting gently, wrapping around your body in a careful, protective way. The windshield glows with the reflection of rain both inside and out. It is a layered shimmer, soft and almost hypnotic. You watch the droplets trace their slow paths, meeting at angles, merging, separating again. The movement feels purposeful, as though each drop has been guided by intention. You match your breathing to the rhythm, slow and deliberate, letting the cadence settle into your chest. The cab feels different now, smaller, closer, alive with attention. You sense it listening, more aware than metal and plastic should be. The air smells faintly of ozone and wet rubber, mingling with the subtle warmth of the droplets, creating a comforting tension. You lean back slightly in your seat, letting your spine settle against the fabric as you observe. The rain inside does not spread indiscriminately. It falls selectively, forming little arcs, small rivulets that slide down windows and dashboards, pooling for moments before vanishing. Each movement is measured, a choreography of water in a space that should be unyielding. The effect is mesmerizing, hypnotic. You feel your awareness narrowing to the droplets, to the sound, to the sensation of calm enveloping you. Outside, the highway stretches on, dimly illuminated by your headlights and the faint glow of distant lamps. The convoy that accompanied you earlier has receded into mist and shadow, leaving only your truck and the quiet storm. The truck beside you, earlier your companion, is nowhere to be seen. You feel neither loss nor loneliness. The cab has become a universe of its own, intimate and attentive. A subtle shift occurs as you steer gently, guiding the vehicle along the curve of the road. The droplets follow, adjusting, forming new patterns. They do not scatter or fall randomly. It feels as though the cab itself understands your movements, that each adjustment you make is mirrored in the rhythm of rain inside. The realization brings a soft thrill, a wonder rather than concern. You glance at the rearview mirror, expecting reflection alone, but instead you see the faint shimmer of droplets forming along its edge, tracing delicate lines you cannot fully follow. They do not obscure your vision. They enhance it, layering the present with something intangible, almost dreamlike. You notice how your own hands appear softened in the reflected light, warm and slightly glistening. The droplets begin to merge, forming small streams that run along the dashboard toward the vents, only to vanish before reaching the edge. The disappearance is quiet, unforced, like a secret being kept. You feel a gentle comfort in their ephemeral nature, appreciating the impermanence. Each vanishing droplet leaves behind a sense of completion, of subtle closure without finality. You let the sensation fill your awareness. The interior of the cab is alive with a quiet energy, a presence that observes without intrusion. The storm outside is no longer separate. It flows into your space, bends to your rhythm, forms a dialogue between interior and exterior, between motion and stillness. You feel the continuity, the unbroken line connecting the two worlds. The sound of rain outside has diminished slightly, leaving room for the interior drops to dominate the auditory landscape. Each plink on metal and glass is precise, gentle, and never abrupt. You find yourself listening closely, noting subtle differences in pitch and timing, understanding them not as anomalies but as messages carried in water. There is no urgency here, only attention. You reach instinctively for the radio, expecting only static, only the hum of white noise. It is there, but softer now, blending with the sound of falling droplets. You do not turn it on or off. You allow it to remain, a background texture to accompany the interior storm. Voices beneath the static seem distant, part of a layered conversation you do not yet need to understand. Time seems to stretch in the cab. Minutes blend into one another, or perhaps they do not exist at all. Your awareness narrows to the droplets, their rhythm, your breath, the gentle hum of the engine. You feel the alignment, the harmony of movement and sound, the way the cab has become an instrument of attention. There is no rush, no endpoint, only the slow, deliberate unfolding of the night. You reach toward the window, fingertips brushing the glass. Droplets follow your touch, parting to allow the warmth of your hand to pass, then settling into new arcs. It is intimate, almost sentient. You feel a gentle presence in this interaction. Not a being, not a consciousness, but a careful attentiveness. The sensation is soothing, like the brush of wind against your skin in a quiet place. The droplets slow their descent, pausing midair, delicate beads that hover for moments before resuming. You sense the cab is adjusting, responding to the steadiness of your hands, the rhythm of your breath, the gentle motion of the truck on the wet road. The night feels suspended in this equilibrium, a soft oscillation between rain and calm. Your gaze shifts to the windshield again, to the blurred highway beyond. Outside, the storm continues with its own intent, but the interior has created its own space of patience and reflection. You feel the harmony of dual realities, the outside chaos of rain and road, the inside focus of presence and awareness. The balance is calming, as though the night itself is breathing with you. You lean back slightly, letting your head rest against the seat. The droplets inside continue, steady, deliberate, precise. You do not try to stop them. You do not seek to understand them fully. They exist as part of the night's rhythm, part of your unfolding journey. You feel the completeness of being observed without observation, accompanied without intrusion. The cab feels like a small world, separate yet connected. You feel the engine's pulse, the road's gentle motion, the droplet's cadence. Time folds in this space, stretching and contracting, leaving only the sensation of existence in motion. You breathe with it, letting each inhalation and exhalation align with the subtle fall of rain. You notice the warmth of the cab more fully now, the way the droplets have lost their chill, leaving traces of gentle heat along surfaces they touch. The warmth feels as though it is intended for you, a quiet acknowledgement of presence, a companion to observation. You do not question it, only accept. The rain slows even further, each drop falling with exquisite care, deliberate in placement and sound. You feel attuned to the pattern, your senses heightened, yet calm. The cab has become a meditation, each element, engine, road, rain, air, aligned in a careful choreography. The night watches with you silently, patiently. You close your eyes for a brief moment, breathing deeply, aware of the rhythm that now guides you. When you open them, the cab feels even smaller, more intimate, yet vast in its connection to the road beyond. You sense that the droplets will continue for as long as you allow, that the interior rain is patient, deliberate, and infinite in its subtlety. The road stretches endlessly ahead, silver and wet, blending seamlessly with the reflections inside the cab. You feel a soft confidence, a quiet reassurance, that the interior rain is as much a part of this journey as the highway itself. Each drop carries calm, each fall carries attention, each pause carries meaning. And as the interior storm settles into a slow, deliberate rhythm, you sense that the next turn in the road will carry not just movement, but a quiet revelation waiting in the folds of night. The night has settled into a steady rhythm, punctuated by rain tapping against your windshield and the low hum of your engine. The world around you is softened by darkness, a liquid shadow that stretches far beyond your headlights. Puddles form across the asphalt, shallow and precise, catching faint glimmers of light that quiver like restless spirits. You notice them without thinking, letting your gaze linger just long enough to see movement, reflection, the subtle ripples of water disturbed by the wind. Ahead, the convoy appears again, emerging from the folds of mist as though it has been waiting for you to catch up. The headlights are distant, steady, and unyielding. You notice a peculiarity almost immediately. The water on the road mirrors your truck perfectly, the contours of your cab and the warm glow of your lights resting on the puddles. But the trucks ahead leave no reflection at all. You blink twice and look again. The surfaces remain dark, smooth, unyielding. It is as though the rain has claimed them, hiding them from themselves. The effect is subtle but unnerving. You feel a gentle pull of awareness, a shift in perception that slows your thoughts rather than accelerates them. You do not feel fear in the traditional sense. It is more like noticing the space between heartbeat and breath, the invisible pause where something might exist. You slow your truck, allowing the rhythm of the convoy to dictate your own. Their lights do not flicker, do not falter, only glide along the road ahead. Puddles form beneath your tires as you follow, shallow mirrors that ripple softly under your passage. The reflection of your truck seems almost alive, responding to the gentle sway of the cab, the gentle rocking of the suspension, the delicate tilt as you steer through curves. You notice how water clings to the edges, forming tiny waves that move against the flow of your motion. Each ripple feels deliberate in its awareness of you. You glance sideways out the window. The rain slides in long, slow streaks down the glass, distorting light and shadow, blending world and reflection into a single, moving painting. Occasionally, the windshield catches a faint shimmer of movement, a ghost of a truck in your periphery, present but untouchable. You do not try to look directly, sensing that the vision will dissolve if you focus. Instead, you breathe slowly, matching your pulse to the steady cadence of tires on wet asphalt, allowing your awareness to expand gently outward without grasping. A faint mist rises from the road ahead, blurring the lower sections of the convoy's lights into soft beams that seem to hover just above the surface of the water. The reflection of your truck ripples and bends in response, more detailed than reality, more certain than memory. You feel a curious intimacy with your own image, a recognition of self moving through a mirrored world. The other trucks continue their silent procession, motion without reflection, a reality unanchored from itself. You wonder, briefly, why the water chooses you, why it mirrors only your presence while erasing all others. The thought drifts past, unchallenged. There is no urgency to understand, only the quiet sense of observation, a soft curiosity that rolls over you like the subtle wind shifting across the wet asphalt. The road seems to listen, bending in response to your gentle movements, guiding you without effort. The surface of the puddles changes subtly as you follow. Small concentric circles ripple outward, not from your wheels, but from points seemingly beneath the water itself, as though the road is breathing slowly, exhaling small currents that disturb the mirrored surface. You notice how your reflection responds to these subtle ripples, stretching and folding with the water, almost tilting inward toward the center of your own image. It feels like being looked at, acknowledged by something unseen. You resist the urge to glance at the trucks ahead. Their lack of reflection feels intentional, a quiet separation from the physical world, a reminder that their presence is different from your own. You feel the warmth of your cab, the solid weight of metal beneath your hands, the gentle vibration of the engine, as grounding as a heartbeat. You allow yourself to notice the contrast, the subtle distinction between reflection and absence, without questioning the why of it. Rain slides down the edges of the windshield in slow rivulets, each drop pausing briefly before joining its neighbors. You track one, from the top of the glass to the base, and feel a strange intimacy in the passage, a small narrative in motion. The reflection of your own face shifts in the curve of the glass, smiling faintly in response to the motion of the world outside. There is comfort here, a connection that feels personal, gentle, and alive. The convoy moves steadily, wheels cutting through shallow water, leaving tracks that vanish almost immediately into the mist. You notice how each vehicle seems to float above the road, unmoored, absent from the reflective surface. They cast no shadows in the water, no echo of light. It is as if the rain itself has absorbed them, rendering them part of a different reality. Your own reflection remains crisp, detailed, tangible, almost breathing beneath you. Your mind slows further, letting the sensation settle. The reflection beneath your truck becomes a companion of sorts, a calm, observing presence that moves with you, mirrors your breath, your slightest adjustments of the wheel. You feel the rain's texture, the weight of water on glass and metal, the sound of droplets meeting surface, all of it combining into a subtle symphony, quiet yet fully alive. Occasionally, the puddles capture hints of the world around them, soft lines of distant lamp posts, or the faint shimmer of roadside markers. The shapes bend and distort under the water, never stable, never complete, as if reluctant to reveal the truth. You catch the edge of one reflection and see only fragments, portions of your truck, streaks of light, hints of movement elsewhere. It is enough to keep attention alive without demanding focus. The cab feels smaller, more protective as you continue, each droplet echoing softly on the interior metal surfaces. You feel your breathing slow even further, aligning with the subtle rhythm of water both inside and outside the truck. The reflection beneath you seems to exhale in tandem, rising and falling with the sway of the suspension. Time itself appears to fold inward slightly, seconds stretching longer, the movement of the road softened by observation. You sense the presence again, faintly, subtly. Not intrusive, not alarming, only attentive. It moves at the edge of your perception, a quiet awareness accompanying you through the rhythm of rain and road. The reflection beneath your truck seems more aware now, as though acknowledging this companion without seeing it. You let it be, letting your own reflection remain the anchor in the moment. The road curves gently, and your reflection stretches across the puddles, long and fluid, following the bend like a ribbon of water. You adjust your steering slowly, deliberately, observing the way your mirrored image responds to even the slightest change. The other trucks continue on their unreflected course, constant and silent, indifferent to the mirrored world beneath your own wheels. You feel the alignment of your awareness with the road, the rain, the puddles. It is a quiet understanding, a communion with the night. You do not wonder whether the lack of reflection in the convoy is good or ill. It simply exists. You exist, mirrored, observed, acknowledged. You find calm in the certainty of your own presence, the gentle ripple of water responding to every movement. The mist thickens slightly, softening the headlights of the convoy ahead. Your own reflection deepens in contrast, clearer, more deliberate. You notice details you had not before. The subtle tilt of the cab, the curve of the mirrors, the warm glow from within the cab reflected back to you like a private flame. The contrast between presence and absence feels meditative, a quiet lesson in noticing without judging. The rain begins to ease, transitioning from steady patter to gentle drizzle. Puddles remain, holding your reflection, stable yet fluid, still responding to your motion, still breathing. The cab feels warmer, intimate, as though it has expanded to hold this mirrored space, to accommodate the quiet companionship of water and presence. You feel entirely contained, entirely observed without scrutiny. The convoy ahead begins to recede, their lights dimming into the mist. They do not fade from your reflection. They were never part of it to begin with. You feel a sense of soft separation, a gentle understanding that some presences move through the night unmirrored, while others remain intimate with their own reflection. You drive with patience, following the pulse of your mirrored world, the road stretching forward endlessly. And as the puddles smooth and the rain quiets to a whisper, you sense that the night itself will soon ask for more than observation. It will invite you to follow the reflection deeper into its secret currents. The night stretches around you like a velvet curtain, heavy yet soft, draping the world in quiet shadow. Rain falls steadily, a gentle, rhythmic percussion against the roof of your cab and across the windshield. Your tires hum against the wet asphalt, each rotation releasing a soft, soothing vibration through the cab. The world outside is diffused by mist, the contours of trees, signs, and guardrails blurred into softened edges, as though the storm itself wishes to quiet the harsh outlines of reality. You notice the first sign that the road is different tonight. Where the rain has swept the asphalt clean, erasing the usual patchwork of tire tracks left by passing vehicles, you see the faint imprint of your own tires ahead of you, waiting like an echo, perfectly aligned with your steering. A shiver of recognition passes through you, not one of alarm, but of quiet intrigue. The road seems to remember, holding fragments of your passage in advance of your arrival. The sensation is subtle, almost hypnotic. You adjust your speed, gently coaxing your tires over the wet surface, and notice how the echoes of your tread shift slightly in response. Each groove in the asphalt hums beneath you, vibrating softly against the soles of your shoes, through the pedals, the wheel, through every nerve ending attuned to the movement. It feels like the road is acknowledging you, a companion that remembers your weight, your pace, your presence. As you follow the lines, the rain falls slower, deliberate, creating a soft drum roll on the cab roof. The droplets are larger than before, gliding with a weight that feels purposeful, careful. Each splash on the asphalt echoes faintly, a muted response to the rhythm of the tires. You notice how the reflections in the puddles ripple differently under your wheels, bending and stretching in patterns that seem aware of your passage. The other trucks of the convoy are nowhere in sight tonight, dissolved into the mist, leaving only your own illuminated path. Your headlights carve a pale golden ribbon along the wet road, picking up the glimmer of water in the tire grooves. It is mesmerizing, calming, almost like following a trail of light laid out just for you. You slow your breathing to match the soft vibration beneath your seat, noticing the slight sway of the cab as you steer over each ridge, each groove, each echo of rubber on asphalt. Sometimes, a line of your tread marks appears where no road should yet exist. You slow instinctively, following the curves of the markings, letting the cab drift naturally along the invisible path. You glance at the mirrors but see only mist and rain, no sign of who or what might have laid the imprint. Still, the feeling is not of fear. There is a comfort here, a quiet assurance, as though the road has chosen to guide rather than mislead. The hum of tires and rain blends with the low vibration of the engine into a single meditative pulse. You notice the subtle change in pitch as the cab rolls over shallow depressions in the asphalt, and the road seems to respond, echoing your weight and speed with gentle countercurrents. You feel connected to it, as if the stretch of wet blacktop beneath you is conscious, stretching in quiet acknowledgement of your passage. Every curve of the road brings new discoveries. Tiny rivulets of rainwater collect in low spots, forming reflective pools. You watch them, noticing how each puddle seems to pause, almost anticipating your approach. Your reflection ripples across their surface, warm and intimate, while the tread marks appear to extend beyond the visible distance, suggesting paths that have not yet been traveled. It is a dialogue without words, a conversation conducted in shape and texture, light and reflection. The air smells faintly of wet pine and earth, the storm's breath carried through the open space around you. The scent is subtle, grounding, mingling with the warmth of the cab and the steady pulse of the engine. You notice how the rain sounds different on the patches of asphalt where your tires have already passed, softer, almost like the road itself is sighing in recognition. You let your thoughts drift with the sound, unhurried, knowing that the journey is as much about presence as arrival. You reach a gentle bend, a slow curve in the road that dips slightly into a valley of mist. The tire marks appear ahead once again, perfectly aligned, as if the road has drawn them for you to follow. Each groove is familiar, a reflection of your own passage, yet imbued with a strange, comforting awareness. You press the wheel lightly, allowing the cab to glide over the wet asphalt with quiet precision, feeling the hum beneath your seat as the marks guide your path. The windshield glimmers with the faint shimmer of rain and reflection. You notice the way the water beads along the glass, tiny droplets merging, flowing, separating again. They move with a soft rhythm that mirrors your own breathing. You become aware of the cadence. Inhale, exhale, the subtle sway of the cab, the whisper of tires through water, and the quiet song of the storm around you. The road hums beneath all of it, remembering, attending, guiding. At times, the grooves of your tires seem to pulse faintly in response to your touch of the pedals, tiny vibrations that ripple upward into your hands and feet. You close your eyes briefly, letting the sensation wash over you, feeling the connection of cab, tires, and road. The hum of asphalt beneath you, combined with the gentle splash of rain, creates a lull, a hypnotic embrace that encourages patience and quiet focus. The road shifts imperceptibly, dips and rises in subtle rhythms that align with the movement of your vehicle. Each change in elevation, each curve, feels as though it has been anticipated, traced in the memory of the asphalt itself. You notice how the grooves of your tread adjust slightly to match, as if the road remembers not only where you have been, but how you move through it, honoring the cadence of your steering, the pressure of your hands, the subtle sway of the cab. You glance at the puddles again, and for a brief moment, the reflection of your cab seems to move independently, floating just above the surface of the water. The effect is fleeting, dissolving into the ripples created by the tires, but it leaves a sensation of quiet wonder, an awareness that the road holds more than mere asphalt and rain. It holds the memory of presence, the echo of motion, the gentle pulse of continuity. The hum beneath you rises slightly as the cab moves over a longer stretch of road, a resonance that vibrates softly against your spine. You notice how the reflection in the water follows, bending and stretching with each small adjustment. Each puddle seems to wait for you, holding your image for a moment longer, reflecting not just your form but the subtle motion of the cab, the gentle sway of the suspension, the rhythm of your breath. Occasionally, the grooves in the asphalt take on a life of their own, small arcs that curve slightly before straightening, subtle shifts that suggest consciousness without revealing intent. You do not need to understand, only to follow, letting your presence and awareness align with the road. There is no urgency, no destination pressing upon you. The journey exists in the feeling of motion, the echo of tires, the mirrored reflection beneath you, and the attentive hum of the wet asphalt. The storm around you begins to soften, raindrops thinning, becoming more delicate, more deliberate. Puddles stretch ahead like dark mirrors, waiting for the next impression. Your reflection remains steady and intimate, while the grooves of your tires continue to pulse beneath you. You feel a quiet gratitude, a sense of calm woven into the subtle mechanics of motion, observation, and memory. The cab feels smaller, closer, as though the road itself is pressing gently against it, embracing the movement, attending to each detail, echoing each subtle vibration. You notice the warmth inside the cab, a soft companion to the damp chill outside, a private cocoon in which the road and rain have conspired to create stillness. You breathe with the rhythm, slow and deliberate, letting the sensation of presence wash over every nerve. Even as the storm begins to dissipate, you notice the faint outlines of new tread marks forming ahead, waiting for your tires to pass. It is not mere repetition, but anticipation. The road knows you, knows your rhythm, knows your pace. The echo of your passage precedes you, soft and deliberate, a gentle reminder that the journey is not only measured in distance, but in presence, in awareness, in the quiet attention of the night. And as the grooves of your tires press into the wet asphalt once more, you sense that the road has more to remember, more to whisper, and the night ahead will reveal the secrets it has been keeping in the gentle hum beneath your wheels. You drive with both hands resting lightly on the wheel, feeling the gentle resistance of wet asphalt beneath the tires. Rain moves in thin silver lines across the windshield, each drop sliding downward as if it knows exactly where to go. The road stretches forward without urgency, without promise, and you follow it because there is nothing else to do but keep moving. Ahead of you, a line of trucks glides through the darkness, their red taillights glowing steadily, like distant embers that refuse to go out. You fall into their rhythm, matching their speed, breathing in time with the soft hiss of rain. The convoy does not rush. It does not hesitate. It simply continues mile after mile, as though it has been doing this forever. You notice how none of the trucks drift between lanes, none tap their brakes, none flash a signal. The space between each vehicle remains identical, a careful distance measured by something more patient than human judgment. You tell yourself this is normal, that experienced drivers move like this when the night is long and the weather steady. Still, a quiet awareness settles in your chest, as gentle and persistent as the rain. Your radio hums softly, a low static that fills the cab like distant breath. You turn the dial, slow and deliberate, expecting a voice to emerge from the noise. Nothing does. No late-night host, no weather alert, no tired laughter drifting through the frequencies. Only static and rain, woven together into a sound that almost feels intentional. You leave it there because silence would feel heavier, and this quiet noise keeps you company. As the miles pass, the world outside narrows. Trees blur into dark walls, their branches bowing slightly as if listening. Reflective signs appear and disappear, glowing briefly before slipping back into shadow. Your headlights catch the mist rising from the road, turning it into something soft and floating, like breath in cold air. You feel cocooned inside the cab, wrapped in engine warmth and dim dashboard light, while the night presses close beyond the glass. You begin to notice small details that gently unsettle you. The trucks ahead bear no markings you can recognize. No company names, no numbers, no familiar logos. Just clean metal surfaces that absorb the rain without reflecting it back. Their trailers seem longer than they should be, stretching just a little too far into the dark. You blink and they look normal again, and you remind yourself that tired eyes can play quiet tricks. Time loosens its grip. You glance at the clock, then forget the number almost immediately. Minutes feel like moments, moments feel like stretches of road that never quite end. Your body relaxes into the seat, muscles softening, thoughts slowing. There is something comforting about surrendering to the convoy's pace, about letting someone else decide how fast the night should move. You follow because following feels easier than leading. Once, you reach for the radio microphone without fully realizing it. Your thumb hovers over the button, and you imagine your voice slipping into the darkness, asking a simple question. Anyone else riding this stretch tonight? The thought alone feels loud, disruptive, like a stone dropped into still water. You lower your hand again, heart steady, unsure why you decided not to speak. The convoy continues, unchanged. Rain deepens, not heavier, but thicker, as though the air itself has learned how to fall. The road reflects the truck's lights, stretching them into long red ribbons that ripple with every subtle movement. You feel as though you are driving through a tunnel made of water and glow, protected from whatever waits beyond its edges. The sense of being watched flickers briefly, then fades, leaving behind only calm curiosity. You realize that none of the trucks cast visible shadows, not on the road, not on the surrounding trees. Their lights shine, but the darkness does not respond the way it should. This observation drifts through your mind without alarm. It feels like noticing an odd cloud shape or a familiar song played in a different key. Interesting, but not threatening. You keep driving. Your breathing slows. Inhale, exhale. The engine's vibration becomes a lullaby, steady and low. The rain keeps time, tapping gently against the roof and mirrors. You feel suspended between waking and dreaming, aware of the road but not bound tightly to it. The convoy ahead feels less like a group of vehicles and more like a single, elongated presence guiding you forward. At some point, the landscape opens briefly, revealing a wide stretch of emptiness on either side. No lights, no buildings, just darkness softened by rain. The convoy does not react. No one accelerates or slows. You sense that if you were to drift away now, turn off onto some unseen exit, the night would close behind you without comment. The idea does not frighten you. It simply exists. You wonder gently where the convoy is going. Not in a demanding way, but with the mild curiosity reserved for dreams you half remember. Perhaps they are heading somewhere that only exists at night, a destination measured in distance rather than place. Perhaps they are not heading anywhere at all, just moving because movement is what they know. The thought settles comfortably in your mind. Your headlights flicker once so subtly you almost miss it. The trucks ahead remain steady, unwavering. You feel a brief urge to check your mirrors to confirm that you are still there, still solid. The reflection shows your calm face, eyes open, posture relaxed. You look like someone who belongs on this road. The feeling reassures you more than logic ever could. The rain begins to lighten, thinning until it is more suggestion than substance. Droplets become mist, mist becomes memory. The road grows quieter, as if absorbing sound. You sense a change approaching, not sudden, but inevitable, like dawn far beyond the horizon. The convoy maintains its course, silent and composed, inviting you to continue with it just a little longer. You do not know how long you have been driving like this, wrapped in quiet motion and unspoken companionship. You only know that the night feels gentle, almost kind, and that whatever waits ahead does not feel in a hurry to arrive. You stay with the convoy, comfortable in the not knowing, as the road breathes beneath you and carries you onward. A faint curve appears in the distance, barely more than a suggestion, and the convoy follows it with effortless grace. You follow too, trusting the flow, trusting the quiet agreement that has formed without words. The road feels older here, smoother, as if countless nights have worn it down into something familiar. You feel a soft acceptance settle over you, the kind that comes when you stop asking questions and start listening instead. The trucks hum in unison, a sound felt more than heard, and you realize that even without voices, there is communication happening, slow and steady, carried through motion, through presence, through the shared understanding of the dark. You let the moment stretch, knowing the road will soon reveal another quiet truth meant only for you tonight gently. And as the curve deepens and the silence grows warmer, you sense that the next stretch of road is ready to remember something you have not yet been told. The rain softens again, becoming lighter, thinner, as if it is slowly losing interest in falling. Your headlights glide over the road, illuminating a narrow path that feels carefully chosen just for you. The convoy ahead remains steady, its red lights still glowing like patient embers, but your attention begins to drift toward the roadside. Something there quietly asks to be noticed, without urgency or demand. A mile marker appears on the right, rising from the darkness with gentle confidence. Its surface is pale, slick with rain, the numbers carved deep and dark. You glance at it automatically, letting your mind register the distance traveled. The numbers do not mean anything to you. They are unfamiliar, arranged in a way that feels almost correct but not quite. The marker slips past your window before you can think too much about it. You continue driving, hands relaxed, breathing slow. Another mile marker arrives sooner than expected, closer than the space between the last two should allow. You notice the same unfamiliar numbering, the same quiet presence as it passes. Rain slides down its surface in thin, wavering lines, tracing paths that resemble writing but never quite form words. You feel no alarm, only a mild curiosity, like noticing a repeated dream symbol. The road hums beneath you, unchanged, smooth and willing. The convoy ahead does not react to the markers, does not slow or adjust. Their silence feels intentional, as though these details belong only to you. You allow the thought to settle without resistance. The night has already shown you that it prefers subtlety over explanation. Another marker appears, then another. Each one arrives too soon, compressing distance into something smaller, tighter. You feel time stretch and fold in on itself, like fabric gently gathered by unseen hands. Minutes feel closer together, stacked rather than spread. Your sense of progress becomes softer, less defined. You are moving, but not in a way that can be easily measured. You glance at the dashboard clock, then away again, choosing not to chase certainty. The numbers there feel less trustworthy than the steady rhythm of motion, than the quiet consistency of rain and engine. Outside, the markers continue their calm procession, each one slightly different, each one equally unfamiliar. They seem older than the road itself, as though they have been waiting here for a long time. Rain gathers briefly at the base of a marker as you pass, pooling like a shallow mirror before being disturbed by wind and movement. In that reflection, you catch a glimpse of your headlights bending, stretching, as if the light itself is uncertain how far it should travel. The image fades almost immediately, leaving behind a faint sense of having seen something important. You feel distance behaving strangely, not collapsing, not expanding, but circling back on itself. The road seems longer than it should be, yet also intimate, like a hallway you have walked many times in dreams. You recognize the feeling in your body more than in your mind. A calm heaviness settles into your limbs, grounding you, keeping you present. The convoy ahead remains your anchor. Their lights still glow, still guide, still maintain perfect spacing. You trust them implicitly now, not because they have proven anything, but because they have never asked you to doubt them. The mile markers, on the other hand, feel like gentle questions posed by the night, each one inviting you to notice without insisting on answers. Another marker passes, its numbers etched deeper, darker, almost absorbing the light that touches them. You sense a faint pull as it slips by, like a thought tugging gently at the edge of awareness. You let it go. The road ahead remains open, smooth, patient. You realize that you no longer remember the last familiar mile marker you saw, the last one that made sense. The memory feels distant, hazy, as though it belongs to another version of this drive. The idea does not trouble you. Instead, it brings a quiet acceptance, a willingness to let the road define itself on its own terms. Rain thickens briefly, blurring the edges of the world again. The markers appear and disappear within seconds, pale shapes emerging from mist and retreating into it. Each one feels like a heartbeat, marking not distance but presence. You begin to sense that they are not measuring how far you have gone, but how deeply you have entered the night. Your breathing remains slow and steady. Inhale, exhale. The engine hums beneath you, a constant reassurance. The headlights behind you, though unseen now, are still felt, a warm awareness at your back. You are surrounded by motion that feels intentional, almost protective. A marker appears with numbers that seem to shift as you pass, not changing, but refusing to settle into a single meaning. You blink and they are still. The moment passes without tension. You do not feel the need to confirm what you saw. The night has already shown you that not everything here is meant to be held tightly. The road curves gently, and the markers follow its arc, appearing at irregular intervals. Sometimes they come quickly, sometimes they take their time. The pattern feels organic, like breathing rather than counting. You allow your thoughts to slow further, syncing with this new rhythm. The drive feels less like travel and more like drifting. You notice that the rain sounds different when it strikes the markers. Softer, muted, as though the stone or metal they are made of absorbs sound as easily as it absorbs light. The idea lingers, suggesting that these markers are not merely signs, but listeners, quiet witnesses to every passing night. Time continues to fold inward, becoming less linear. You feel moments overlap, like transparent layers. The present feels thick, textured, something you can almost touch. You are aware of your body, your breath, the gentle pressure of the seat beneath you. Everything else feels distant, softened by rain and repetition. Another marker passes close to your window, close enough that you notice fine cracks in its surface, lines that resemble veins or roots. Water follows these paths, tracing them lovingly before dripping away. You feel a strange tenderness toward this detail, as though the marker is alive in a way that does not require movement. The convoy ahead remains unchanged, their lights steady, reassuring. You sense that they have passed these markers before countless times without question. Their silence feels like wisdom rather than absence. You follow, content to let the night reveal itself gradually. The road stretches onward, longer than memory allows, longer than expectation. Yet you do not feel tired. The drive does not drain you. Instead, it feels like being carried, like floating along a current that knows exactly where it is going. The markers continue to arrive, each one a quiet punctuation mark in the story of this night. Rain eases again, becoming a fine mist. The world sharpens slightly, but the markers remain softly out of focus, as though they prefer not to be fully seen. You respect that boundary. You have learned that this road offers comfort when you do not push against it. As another unfamiliar number slips past your window, you sense a deeper shift approaching. The markers feel less like measurements now and more like invitations, guiding you toward something just beyond the next bend. You remain calm, curious, steady in your movement, ready to listen as the road prepares to share what comes next. And as the next mile marker waits quietly in the rain, you feel certain that the road is about to show you where distance finally begins to lose its meaning. The rain settles into a quieter pattern, as if it has decided to listen instead of speak. Droplets slide along the windshield in careful lines, blurring the road into something soft and forgiving. Your hands rest easily on the wheel, fingers relaxed, guided by habit rather than thought. The convoy ahead remains steady, and the truck beside you still holds its place, patient and unhurried. Within the cab, the air feels warm and contained, a small island of calm drifting through the night. The radio hums softly, a low layer of static woven into the sound of rain. It has been there for a while, subtle enough to fade into the background, comforting in its consistency. You become aware of it again as the pitch shifts slightly, rising and falling like a breath. The sound feels alive in a gentle way, as though the radio is trying to remember something it once knew how to say. You reach for the dial without urgency, turning it just enough to explore the space between stations. The static thickens, then thins, then settles again. Beneath it, something else begins to form, delicate and almost fragile. A shape of sound, not quite a voice, not quite noise. You pause your hand, letting the moment stretch. The rain outside seems to soften further, its rhythm slowing to match your breathing. The truck beside you continues to glide forward, unchanged, its presence steady at your side. The road hums beneath you, a constant reassurance. Inside the cab, the radio's sound deepens, layering itself like mist. Then you hear it, a whisper, stretched thin and distorted, drifting through the static like a memory trying to surface. It speaks your name, slowly, gently, as though tasting each syllable before letting it go. The sound is not loud. It does not startle you. It feels intimate, familiar in a way that does not require recognition. You inhale softly, then exhale, allowing the moment to pass through you. The whisper fades back into static, leaving behind a warmth rather than fear. You tell yourself that radios pick up strange things at night, that voices travel in unexpected ways through rain and distance. The explanation feels less important than the feeling itself. You turn the dial again, slowly, carefully, searching for a clearer signal. The static shifts, reshaping itself, but the whisper returns, woven into the noise. It says your name once more, drawn out, as though the sound itself is unhurried. You feel a subtle awareness bloom in your chest, not alarm, but attention. Outside, the rain presses closer, tapping gently against the roof and mirrors. The sound feels attentive, as though the storm itself is leaning in to listen. The radio responds, crackling softly, creating a layered conversation between metal, water, and air. You sense that you are not meant to separate these sounds, only to experience them together. The convoy ahead continues without change, their lights steady and reassuring. The truck beside you remains perfectly aligned, its presence grounding. You feel held within a narrow corridor of motion and sound, protected from whatever lies beyond the edges of this moment. The whisper returns again, softer this time, less distinct, but unmistakably shaped like your name. You do not answer. The idea does not even form. Instead, you listen, letting the sound wash over you like a familiar song played too quietly to sing along to. The whisper does not demand a response. It feels content to exist, to be heard without being acknowledged. The rain shifts slightly, growing denser for a few moments before easing again. The radio static follows suit, thickening and thinning in gentle waves. You notice how the whisper seems to ride these changes, surfacing when the static softens, retreating when it grows loud. The pattern feels intentional, almost careful. You glance briefly at the dashboard, at the glowing numbers and symbols that mark speed and time. They feel distant, less relevant than the sounds filling the cab. You return your gaze to the road, trusting your body to guide the truck forward. The whisper returns, and this time it lingers a little longer, stretching the sound until it nearly becomes a sentence. You cannot make out the words beyond your name. They dissolve before forming fully, leaving only the impression of meaning. The experience feels like trying to remember a dream just after waking, the details slipping away even as the emotion remains. You feel calm, curious, unafraid. The rain outside grows quieter again, as though satisfied. The truck beside you continues its silent companionship, unchanged by the voices in the air. You sense that it, too, is listening, though it offers no sign. The convoy ahead remains your anchor, their steady lights guiding you through this layered night. You turn the dial once more, slower now, almost reverently. The static shifts into a lower register, deeper, warmer. The whisper fades, replaced by a brief silence that feels full rather than empty. You breathe into that silence, appreciating its weight. Then, faintly, another sound emerges. Not a whisper this time, but a murmur, like voices speaking through water. They overlap gently, never rising, never competing. You cannot distinguish individual words, only the cadence, the rise and fall of distant speech. The sound feels old, patient, as though it has been waiting for the right moment to be heard. Your name does not return, but the sense of recognition remains. You feel known in a way that does not threaten. The murmurs drift through the cab, blending with rain and engine, becoming part of the night's texture. You feel your body relax further, sinking into the seat, supported by sound and motion. The road curves gently, and you guide the wheel with ease. The truck beside you follows perfectly. The murmurs soften as the static thickens again, retreating without resistance. You sense that they have said what they needed to say for now. You leave the radio where it is, no longer seeking clarity. The static hums softly, a constant companion. The rain listens, tapping lightly, absorbing sound. You feel wrapped in a cocoon of quiet noise, safe within its layers. Moments pass, or perhaps minutes. Time feels fluid, unmeasured. The whisper returns once more, barely audible, like a final echo. It does not say your name this time. It simply exists, a presence rather than a message. You accept it without question. The rain begins to thin again, each drop more spaced, more deliberate. The road ahead remains open, smooth, inviting. The convoy continues its silent guidance. The truck beside you remains steady, patient as ever. Inside the cab, the radio's static settles into a low, even hum. You realize that silence never truly returns. It lingers beneath the sounds, a soft foundation rather than an absence. The voices, the rain, the engine all rest upon it, creating a layered calm. You feel at peace within this soundscape, untroubled by its mysteries. As you continue forward, you sense that the voices beneath the static have opened something gently, like a door left ajar. You do not need to step through yet. For now, it is enough to know that the night is speaking, and that you are listening, carried onward by the road's quiet intention. And as the radio hums softly beside you, you feel that the next stretch of road is ready to answer the voices that have finally learned how to call you. The rain grows heavier without ever becoming loud. It thickens the air, turning the road ahead into a long, shining ribbon that seems to float rather than rest on the ground. Your windshield wipers move in slow, patient arcs, clearing just enough space for you to see, never more than necessary. You feel as though the night is asking you to focus only on what is directly in front of you. Nothing beyond, nothing behind. The convoy ahead remains steady, its taillights glowing like distant coals beneath a layer of mist. You breathe evenly, feeling the calm weight of the moment settle deeper into your chest. The cab feels warm and enclosed, a small moving room drifting through a much larger, quieter world. The rain drums softly on the roof, not tapping but pressing, as if it wants to be close. You sense the road responding beneath you, smooth and accepting, carrying you forward without resistance. Everything feels synchronized, from your breath to the engine's hum. When you glance at the side mirror, you expect to see only darkness and rain. Instead, a pair of headlights glows faintly in the distance behind you. They are dim at first, blurred by water, but undeniably present. You do not tense. The sight feels oddly neutral, like noticing a star appear between clouds. Other drivers use this road too, you remind yourself, especially on nights like this. Still, something about the lights holds your attention a moment longer than usual. You check again, more deliberately this time. The headlights remain, neither closer nor farther, their brightness constant. They do not sway or flicker. They simply exist, steady as a thought you cannot quite finish. You turn your eyes forward again, letting the image rest where it belongs, somewhere between curiosity and acceptance. The convoy continues, unchanged, unbothered. Rain slips down the mirrors in thin streams, bending the world into gentle curves. The headlights behind you stretch and soften, becoming elongated shapes that almost resemble reflections rather than sources. You notice how they align perfectly with your movements, adjusting subtly when you shift lanes or follow a curve in the road. The timing is precise, intimate, as though the driver behind you knows your intentions before you do. You feel no urgency to speed up or slow down. The rhythm you share with the convoy feels complete, protected. The presence behind you does not intrude. It follows at a respectful distance, close enough to be known, far enough to remain undefined. This balance feels important, like the space between notes in a lullaby. You let it remain unexamined. The rain intensifies again, not in force but in density. The world beyond your headlights dissolves into a soft, silvery haze. The trees along the road fade into suggestion, their outlines barely visible, as if sketched lightly in charcoal. Your senses narrow further, drawn inward, guided by sound and motion rather than sight. The engine's vibration travels through the seat into your spine, grounding you. When you glance at the rearview mirror this time, the headlights seem closer. Not dramatically, not threateningly, but noticeably. They fill more of the mirror's frame, their glow warmer, more defined. You feel a subtle awareness ripple through you, like a thought brushing past without stopping. You tell yourself that distance is hard to judge in rain, that perspective shifts easily at night. The explanation feels sufficient. You focus on the road again, tracing the gentle curve of asphalt with relaxed attention. The convoy ahead maintains its perfect spacing, unaffected by the storm. Their taillights reflect off the wet surface, doubling themselves into long red streaks that tremble slightly with each ripple in the road. You feel as though you are moving through layers of light, each one softer than the last. The radio crackles briefly, a whisper of static that rises and falls like a sigh. You do not reach for it. The sound blends seamlessly with the rain, becoming part of the night's quiet conversation. You imagine the storm listening, responding in its own slow language. The thought feels comforting, as though the world itself is awake with you, attentive but calm. Another glance at the mirror reveals the headlights again, unwavering. They seem clearer now, less distorted by rain, as if the air between you has grown thinner. You notice something curious. There is no visible outline of a vehicle behind the lights. No grille, no shape, just illumination suspended in the dark. The observation drifts through your mind without alarm, like noticing fog where you expected sky. You breathe in deeply, filling your lungs with warm, recycled air, then exhale slowly. Your body remains relaxed, shoulders heavy, hands steady on the wheel. The headlights do not provoke fear. Instead, they evoke a quiet sense of being accompanied, of not being entirely alone on this long, wet stretch of road. The feeling is gentle, almost reassuring. Rainwater pools briefly on the road before your tires disperse it, sending faint ripples outward. You watch these patterns form and vanish, each one unique, each one fleeting. The headlights behind you glide through these reflections without disturbance, their light bending but never breaking. You sense a patience in their movement, an understanding of the road's subtle moods. As the miles pass, the storm's presence feels more personal. The rain seems to fall in rhythm with your thoughts, thickening when your mind wanders, easing when you focus. The headlights remain a constant point of reference, a soft anchor in the shifting dark. You begin to sense them less as an external object and more as part of the night's architecture, like the road or the sky. The convoy ahead takes a long, gradual bend. You follow, easing the wheel with practiced familiarity. The headlights behind you follow too, mirroring your movement perfectly. There is no delay, no correction. The synchronization feels intimate, like dancing with a partner you cannot see. You do not resist the sensation. You let it wash over you, slow and warm. You realize that you can no longer remember when you first noticed the headlights. The memory feels distant, blurred at the edges, as though it belongs to another part of the night. Time stretches again, loosening its structure. Minutes slip past unnoticed, marked only by the steady motion of rain and light. You exist fully in this moment, unburdened by before or after. The road straightens briefly, offering a clear line into the mist. The convoy continues its silent procession, red lights unwavering. The headlights behind you remain just as steady, their glow now soft enough to feel rather than see. You sense them like a presence at your back, supportive, watchful, never demanding attention. You wonder, in a gentle, abstract way, whether the storm itself could be following you, wearing the shape of headlights to remain close. The idea does not feel strange. It feels almost poetic, like the night finding a way to walk beside you. You let the thought drift, unchallenged, settling into the rhythm of the drive. The rain begins to thin again, each drop more spaced, more deliberate. The world sharpens slightly, edges returning without harshness. You glance at the mirror once more. The headlights are still there, unchanged, patient. You feel a quiet acceptance bloom within you, a sense that whatever this presence is, it means no harm. It simply accompanies. Your breathing slows further, matching the engine's low hum. The road feels endless but not exhausting. The convoy ahead, the lights behind, the rain above all form a single, flowing experience. You are held within it, supported from all sides. The night feels less like something you move through and more like something that moves with you. As another curve approaches, subtle and smooth, you guide the wheel gently, trusting the road's guidance. The headlights behind you shift with you, seamless and calm. You sense that this quiet companionship is leading somewhere deeper, somewhere still wrapped in shadow and promise. The storm softens its voice, as if preparing to share another secret meant only for those who listen closely. And as the rain breathes a little slower, you sense that the road ahead is about to show you what follows when the lights choose to draw closer. The rain settles into a steady rhythm again, no longer shifting or changing its mind. It feels content to fall exactly as it is, neither heavier nor lighter, just present. Your headlights cut forward through the mist, and the road continues to carry you with the same gentle assurance. The convoy ahead remains visible, distant but dependable, its red lights floating like calm thoughts in the dark. You notice the change first as a feeling, not a sight. A subtle awareness forms to your left, like the sense of someone standing nearby without making a sound. You keep your eyes forward, breathing slow, letting the road remain your anchor. Then, almost politely, a shape emerges beside you through the rain. A truck glides into view in the lane to your left, its form softened by water and shadow. Its headlights are on, but dimmed, as if filtered through layers of rain and time. The body of the truck is dark, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. You feel no jolt of surprise, only a mild curiosity, as though this presence has always been meant to appear here. It matches your speed perfectly, not a fraction faster, not a fraction slower. The synchronization feels deliberate, careful, almost considerate. Rain streaks down its side windows in long, wavering lines, obscuring whatever might be inside. You glance briefly, searching for a driver, a silhouette, any sign of movement. There is nothing you can clearly define. You return your attention to the road, trusting the calm in your chest. Other trucks share highways all the time. This is not unusual, you remind yourself. Still, there is something distinct about the way this one moves. It does not drift within its lane. It does not surge forward or lag behind. It simply stays, holding position beside you like a thought that refuses to leave. The sound of rain shifts subtly, as if acknowledging the newcomer. The drumming on your roof blends with the softer patter against the other truck, creating a layered rhythm. You feel cocooned between motion and sound, protected within this narrow corridor of shared travel. The night seems to lean closer, listening. Minutes pass, or perhaps moments. Time feels less defined here. The truck remains beside you, unwavering. You glance again, longer this time. The windows remain veiled, rainwater bending reflections into slow, liquid shapes. The mirrors show nothing unusual, no hint of a face, no flicker of interior light. It is as though the truck is content to exist without revealing anything more. You notice that it carries no markings, no logos, no numbers. Its surface is smooth and unadorned, like a page left intentionally blank. Rain slides over it without resistance, tracing paths that vanish almost as soon as they form. The sight feels calming rather than unsettling, like watching water flow over stone. The convoy ahead continues its silent guidance. Their lights neither react nor respond to the truck beside you. You sense that this, too, is part of the night's design. Nothing feels out of place, even if it cannot be explained. You relax further into your seat, shoulders heavy, hands steady on the wheel. The road curves gently, and you adjust your steering with practiced ease. The truck beside you mirrors the movement flawlessly, maintaining its distance, maintaining its place. The coordination feels intimate, like two dancers moving in parallel without ever touching. You feel a quiet respect for this precision, for this unspoken agreement to share space without intrusion. Rain thickens briefly, blurring the edges of both trucks into soft shapes. For a moment, the world narrows to motion and sound alone. You hear your own breathing, slow and even, blending with the engine's low hum. The presence beside you feels closer now, not physically, but perceptually, as though the space between you has grown quieter. You wonder gently how long the truck has been there. The memory of its arrival feels distant, softened by repetition. It seems possible that it has always been pacing you, just beyond notice, waiting for the right moment to be seen. The thought does not disturb you. It settles like a familiar idea returning home. The rain eases again, revealing clearer outlines. The truck's wheels roll smoothly, sending thin sprays of water outward. You watch the pattern briefly, hypnotized by its consistency. The truck does not attempt to pass. It does not signal. It does not acknowledge you in any way that requires response. It simply remains. You feel a subtle comfort in this steadiness. On long drives, companionship does not always require conversation. Sometimes it is enough to know that something shares your pace, understands your rhythm. The truck beside you feels like that kind of presence, quiet and patient, asking nothing, offering nothing, yet undeniably there. Another mile marker slips past, unnoticed until it is gone. The road continues to stretch, smooth and dark. You realize that the truck has been with you through curves and straightaways alike, through shifts in rain and light. It has not faltered once. The reliability feels almost soothing. You glance toward the windows again, softer this time, without expectation. Rain continues its gentle work, obscuring whatever lies beyond the glass. You sense that looking harder would change nothing, that clarity is not the point here. The night seems to prefer suggestion over revelation. The soundscape shifts subtly as wind moves around both vehicles, creating a low, shared whisper. It feels as though the air itself recognizes the pairing, adjusting to accommodate it. You feel held within this moving space, supported from both sides by presence and absence alike. Time loosens further, stretching into something fluid. You are aware of the moment, but not its length. The truck remains beside you, and the convoy remains ahead, and the road remains beneath you. These constants form a gentle framework, allowing your thoughts to slow and drift without losing their way. You notice that the truck casts no clear reflection on the wet road, its shape absorbed by darkness and rain. The absence feels intentional, like a choice. You do not question it. You accept it as part of the night's quiet logic. The rain begins to thin once more, becoming a fine mist that softens everything it touches. The truck's outline fades slightly, but its presence does not. You feel it as surely as you feel the steering wheel beneath your hands. The sensation is grounding, reassuring. Another curve approaches, long and gradual. You guide your truck through it smoothly. The other truck follows, still beside you, still perfectly aligned. You sense that this shared motion is leading somewhere deeper, somewhere where the road's questions grow quieter and its answers more subtle. You breathe in, then out, matching the rhythm of the drive. The truck does not pass. It does not fall back. It remains, patient as the storm, steady as your own heartbeat. The night feels warm around this quiet companionship, as though acknowledging that you are not meant to travel this stretch alone. And as the road stretches onward with the truck still beside you, you sense that the night is preparing to reveal why some journeys are never meant to be walked alone.